This is the King of Average.
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 Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the King of Average podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to your sister's favorite podcast. I'm your host, BB, along with...
Your mother's favorite, Malik Azuz.
Is there a bubble in your throat that needs to come out right now, or what?
You know what?
The show in which we, we tell your sister...
Oh, we're still going with the whole system? It's funny because today is actually a pretty serious conversation.
Hey, we're coming high energy, right?
Straight to your sister.
All right, dude. Well, you know the vibe. Great episode today. Great topic.
Heck yeah.
We're going to talk about.
Heck yeah.
As much as I'd love to give it a backstory, we're not.
No.
We're going to go straight into it.
Because y'all don't deserve it.
Y'all don't need it, right? We're going to go straight into it.
Let's go.
Right? So we both had great topics we wanted to talk about. He wanted to talk about everyone's individual definition of success. So we're going to discuss that. And then I wanted to talk about how to properly fail. How to fail. There isn't just failing and just failing over and over again. There is a certain strategy in which you can fail in order that failure actually means something. And it's not just a failure because it never ends just there, right? So we're going to start this off by saying nobody cares about you. That's the number one thing you got to remember at all times, especially in your moments of failure.
Yep.
Nobody cares about you enough to even remember your failures. So as much as you want to think like that sounds like a negative thing, nobody cares about you, the reality of the situation is when something happens, whether it's something as simple as like, oh, something embarrassing happens in front of other people, or if you flat out fail in a business, you get fired from a job, whatever the case is, nobody cares about you enough to remember those details because everyone's just moving on with their own lives. You know what I'm saying?
Especially if you succeed at the end of it. Like, even if you start up a whole bunch of businesses or you try a couple sports that you absolutely suck at, if you succeed in one of those, they're only really going to remember that. So, and then even if they try bringing up the past, like, oh, he failed, but they'll be like, yo, he's probably living a better life than you right now.
Right.
They'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, cool.
So now they'll be like, oh, remember that? You remember that one time when you failed XYZ? Nobody cares.
Exactly.
Nobody's going to.
And then they'll probably look at the person saying that like, you're such a jackass. Shut up.
Clear sign of insecurity. So
Shout out Electrolyte.
Shout out flipping. Dude, I got a case of these for like $7.
No way.
Yeah.
Bomb, actually.
Yeah.
All right.
Sparkling ice with caffeine.
So let's get to the first one.
No, that was pretty much my first one. But the other thing I wanted to bring up, because I have a few points here.
Let's do it.
The second thing is everybody respects tenacity. Everybody respects tenacity, right? How quickly you get up after falling. Because the moment you fall, you have a choice right then and there. You have a choice. You can either lay down and just let it happen and let the world run you over.
Yeah.
Or you can psych yourself into it. It's just like, if I get up quick enough, nobody's going to even know I fit.
So you got to think about it. Are you going to be at the end of the day, are you a big spoon or small spoon? Think about that.
And think about which spoon your sister is. So.
Wow. Okay.
Think about what spoon your sister is. Because I'll tell you what. I know for me personally.
I'm bracing it, bro. I'm like.
I know for us personally, we know exactly which spoon your sister is. You know. No, but you have to have that tenacity. You have to have, and this kind of what links back to the last time's conversation. I don't know if it was last time, but anyways, the last conversation we had about that irrational self-belief.
Yep.
Because irrational self-belief,
last conversation.
It's not necessarily just the idea of like, I'm him, blah, 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 it's me.
Yeah.
No, you have to have that irrational self-belief that like, okay, you're going to knock me down right now. Guess what? I'm getting back up. Everybody respects tenacity. Go look at anybody who you look up to as a mentor of any kind. The moment they see you have grit, they're going to invest in you.
I got a question then.
Talk to me.
So you're talking about it's how you get up and how soon you get up, right?
Yeah.
What if you ever get knocked down? Be put in a position that maybe failure isn't really an option. Enter in the situation or scenario that you have a wife and kids, you have a mortgage or you have rent and a whole bunch of other stuff. So you get what I'm trying to get to, right?
Right.
That's it. my question is, from a person that, like, on your end, that doesn't have the mortgage or that doesn't have all that crazy responsibility of like wife and kids and so on, right? From that end, how do you get yourself in that mindset of that same person that is in that tough situation that just simply cannot fail?
I think it really comes down to what you envision yourself to be. What do you want your future to look like?
So having a goal.
Having a goal, having a vision of who you are, what you're doing, how you conduct your everyday life, right? Because the fact of the matter is when 100 people set out for the same goal, right? The only thing that makes that goal special is the fact that very few people will last the journey. That's what gives that goal all the value in the world, right? But if everybody else reaches the goal, chances are there's no value to that goal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing worth acknowledging at the end of that journey. So when you put yourself in that mindset, even though you might be waking up and rent is paid, you don't have to worry about it. Expenses are paid, food's on the table somehow, not because of what you need to do. You need to think to yourself, in order for me to achieve anything that is worthy of making my name important in my future, I don't care if it's 10 years from now, I don't care if it's 30 years from now, I'm going to need to get up and work just as hard as the person who I'm competing with, who doesn't care about what my life looks like. Because they're going to get up and they're going to go hard every single day. I'm competing with them, which means I need to outwork that person.
Yeah.
That's the only way I'm going to get to where I need to get. That's a fantastic question. I always like bringing up, not bringing up when I brought it up before, but a great example
is your sister. I'm not gonna look.
Yo.
I'm not gonna let that go.
No. Listen, I wanted to push this joke further now. I'm not gonna.
All right, cool. I'm happy to tell the last one to bring up your sister.
No, I don't think it's the last time we're bringing it up, but that's specifically, we're just gonna move on, bro.
Shout out Electrolyte.
It's called Pedialyte, dude.
It's not Pedialyte.
No, it's not.
There is Pedialyte. This one's Electrolyte.
Oh, Electrolyte.
You know what I'm saying?
Electrolyte.
Yeah, fool.
Sponsor us. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder the second time.
Yes.
Dude.
Prime example, by the way.
Dude, imagine when you look up highlights of that second fight.
Yeah.
Like, sure, they're going to show the strikes from this side. They're going to show the strikes from that side. But what is one of the main highlights and key moments in that fight that just changes people's hearts, dude?
Yeah.
It's when Tyson was out for the count almost, and the ref is just counting, and he has this look on his face where you can see him having that conversation with himself. He's literally in the moment of life or death. Career or no career. It either ends here or there's still a story to be told. Yeah. And you know what? We'll even go as far as saying maybe even if he lost that fight in that moment, he would have still had a career. But what makes the name Tyson Fury so flipping profound? Because you see that conversation in his face that he had with himself where he told himself, I need to get back up right now.
Bro, the way he got up too was like an Undertaker, like straight up, like he got up and just, boom, he was ready. He's like, all right, cool. He wasn't wobbling.
Yeah.
He wasn't this. He got up and then he locked in. He's like, all right, cool.
Everybody is going to respect that tenacity.
I got my goal. And then not only that is like, he beat the other guy's ass as well.
That's it. He wins the fight at the end of the day.
He knocked it. It wasn't even like a split decision.
Yeah.
He gets up from basically getting knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
He regains consciousness, gets up, and knocks the other guy out.
Yeah.
What a freaking story, man. So
yeah,
that's what a story.
And one of the reasons why that is such a crazy highlight in the entire fight is simply because that takes courage. That takes grit.
Dude.
That is what you need, and that is what people will refer to you as. They will identify you with, And that's the tenacity that earns respect time and time again.
Because we don't like getting punched. I know like they're boxers, but none of us really want to get punched in the face to the point where we're on the ground knocked out.
Right.
And it's a couple rounds in or a decent amount of rounds in that like you're exhausted. Like not only mentally, but also just physically just fried.
Right.
So laying on that ground is the best scenario or situation.
So the next time you wake up and you tell yourself, I'm not going to go to the gym today. The next time you go to work and you tell yourself, you know what, today I'm going to put in a half-assed effort. The next time you train for whatever you're practicing for, whatever sport you're involved in, the next time you tell yourself you're just not going to put in as much effort today, remember that your respect relies on it. The effort you put in, the only reason why coaches have favorites, and by the way,
They do.
if you're still one of those people who's going to sit there and just be like, oh, coaches have favorites. I never took football seriously because coaches have favorites. I never took volleyball seriously because coaches have favorites. Blah, 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 blah. Guess what?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, they do. And if you were in the coach's position, you would understand why.
Yep.
When you look across and you see all of these young people with the same unlimited amount of potential, and only a few of them stand out because they put themselves out there.
And they get the job done.
And they get the job done.
Yep.
And they work harder than everybody else. You too yourself would pick them.
Of course.
Even as a fellow player, you would say, you know what? He should be starting. Everybody respects tenacity.
Yep.
If you feel like it's not going well with the business, blah, 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 this is just, keep reaching out. Keep cold calling. Keep knocking on doors. Keep figuring out new ways, new methods of marketing, different strategies, whatever the case is. Get yourself up again and again and again and again every time you get kicked down. Another interesting one is the idea of the person who fails once versus the person who has failed 100 times. Who's more likely to succeed?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
No, here's the thing. I'm not saying the person who failed once and then they gave up on themselves after that versus the person who failed 100 times. I'm talking the person who failed once but still managed to achieve some level of success, right? Versus the person who failed 100 times before finding his success.
I feel like
If we were to compare the two successes, who do you think is going to be more successful?
so I feel like there's like a correlation between like a high level of success and autism.
Dude, you know what's crazy? I was just thinking about that yesterday.
In all honesty, bro.
No.
Think about that.
Bro.
An average person, a person that's like on the low spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Not on the spectrum. That person is going to get hit with a whole bunch of like no's and screw off and failures and so on. The person be like, I get it. Let's move on. The person with like hardcore, like on the spectrum autism
Yeah.
is straight up going to get it and be like,
Oh, they're not
not gonna get it. They're not going to get it, right?
You know, gets it. There's this. No. But you know what's crazy? I actually took an autism test recently. You know what I found out?
It's about time, bro.
What?
You're autistic.
Oh, no. I found out I'm gay. No, just
Your brother.
No, I took the test with their sister. But anyways, no, it was funny as hell because me and somebody were talking about it and we just kept making like, comments about it and stuff like that. And we were just like, oh, dude, we got to take the test already,
Okay.
And so finally, the person was like, oh, I took it. Do it right now. I was just like, oh, hell no. I don't know if I'm ready to accept this information about myself.
Like to bet on something.
Like, no, it's a quiz, like a love language quiz almost. It just asks you a series of questions to understand like your life behaviors and stuff like that. And then it determines from those answers whether or not you're on the spectrum.
Okay.
No, whether or not you're high on the spectrum. Because we're all technically on the spectrum.
True.
You're on the spectrum, your sister's on the spectrum. But like it depends. People who are higher on the spectrum, they're just a little bit more autistic, right? And it was funny as hell because I opened up this quiz and the first question goes, do you live your everyday life according to some form of a structure? And I freaked out because I don't. Yeah. I don't live my life according to a structure. But you freaked out.
You know, he's like deals with autism.
I was like, oh my God, I'm autistic. And I was just like, wait. Autistic people, they need a structure. they need rituals, they need routines because it helps their mind kind of like stay focused and controlled in order for them to move forward, right? With just everyday normal activities, right? You know, all jokes aside, you know, obviously we're not picking on autism, make fun
Dude,
of autism.
I swear to God, I was gonna like say something right now. I was like, why is autism necessarily like a horrible thing?
No, I mean, well,
Like, yeah, it
who
has,
says it's a horrible thing?
you get what I'm trying to say? Like, a lot of people nowadays, like a lot of podcasts that I listen to, like Theo Vaughn or Shane Gillis and stuff like that, they're like, dude, I have autism. Like, making it seem like it's just a
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a problem.
But like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, if they need structure in order to run a fairly successful business, or I feel like a life in general, there needs to be some structure.
So that's why I was thinking about it.
That's pretty freaking beneficial.
That's why I was thinking about it yesterday, because it's
I
like,
gotta hop back on the spectrum because
honestly, I mean, wow, you know, it's nothing to flex that like I'm not autistic,
exactly,
you know?
yeah.
But no, so the reason why I was thinking about it yesterday, I was thinking about it multiple times, but yesterday was the last time it came up to my mind.
2024, baby.
You got to think about that exact idea, right? In order to run a successful business, you need to be able to not just have the structure, but be able to implement that structure day in and day out over and over again consistently until the results are achieved.
Bro,
look at Elon Musk.
Dude, we talked about it last episode.
Did we?
About the, not autism and not Elon Musk, but about that irrational self-belief.
Right.
Autism, bro. Autistic people have irrational self-belief. It makes so much sense now. I swear to God, it's just like, what the fudge?
That kind of does make sense. Yeah. But no, when you look at a personality like Elon Musk, for example, this is what I'm trying to get at. It's very clear he's kind of autistic, not just because, you know, in interview, it's always really funny because in interviews, you could tell the guy's kind of awkward.
Socially, at least.
He's kind of socially awkward. And people always attribute it to like, oh, his intelligence level is just so high that, you know, he can't have a normal conversation with human beings. Dude, that has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with it. The guy is clearly a little bit higher on the spectrum, not to a degree where it's like, it seems like something that is, you know, diagnosable, or it doesn't seem like it's a problem. But clearly he's enough on the spectrum to where he's able to focus on things better, and he's able to live his life with certain routines and structures that allows him to not just be normal, but allows those business ideas to flourish and grow. Right? So it's very interesting how you mentioned that. And so one of the most important things that I wanted to mention with this whole conversation, how to fail, right? How to fail properly. There isn't just failing and trying again. You have to know how to fail properly. And the fact of the matter is if you're not using your lessons from those failures, you're not failing properly. And the only reason why you see failure as a negative thing is because you're denying those lessons. You're ignoring the truth behind the real reason why you failed. But rather, if you were to take every single one of your failures and you were to take a step back and say, I failed because, and you hold yourself truly accountable to those failures, and you're able to use whatever analytics you have to say, this is what I tried, this didn't work. Now you know what factor in the equation to change in order that next time you try again, you're doing something different and it has the potential to possibly work. Maybe it works a little bit better. Maybe that's the magic key and that's the key to all your success. You never know. But the problem everybody has is the moment they reach that first hurdle, instead of observing the hurdle and asking themselves, how can I get over it? Why did I hit it? They stop at that hurdle and they immediately just give up. You have to use the lessons from your failures. You have to look back, analyze every detail within the failure in order to literally draw up your own recipe for your own success.
It's almost like just simply delayed gratification. That like, we're so used to wanting to hear yes, that whenever we hear no, it's like, no? Wait, oh man, that sucks. But going into it actually, have you heard of the marshmallow test?
No.
So the marshmallow test is basically, it was like a study conducted back in like the late 60s, early 70s. And the scientists got like a group of children together, and he put some marshmallows out. They're like, hey, look, you guys can have some, but if you wait a little bit longer, that one marshmallow that you guys can all have is going to be doubled. So you have more marshmallows if you wait a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Some kids went, they took the marshmallows, they took one marshmallow. Some kids went and they chilled because they're like, I want 2 marshmallows. So they delayed that gratification. Years later, so now those children are now adults, right? So about like 20, 30 years later, the same researcher went and researched those kids. Turns out that the kids that were delayed, the kids that wanted to chill back and get 2 marshmallows instead of that one, led a more successful life, a more healthier, more fulfilled life.
You have to think of the opportunity. If you've been given more pain than everybody else, if you've been given more challenges than everybody else, if you've been given more disadvantages than everybody else, think of the opportunity. Once you figure out how to overcome all of those challenges and pains, imagine how much higher you will stand above everybody else. Mm-hmm. Just because your path was more difficult, you will end up on the other side bigger, stronger, faster, more successful than everybody else.
Another thing too is like we always talk about being humble. Like if you're successful, try to be as humble as possible. I feel like that person, that same exact person that you just put in that situation of a person that's super just drag across the ground and like failure, then they finally go through and they become, I feel like that person is very humble because they fully understand like this life wasn't given to them, that they actually had to hustle, they actually had to like cry and like be in the lowest part of their situation to be in the highest moment of their life.
Yeah, I mean, it's the classic idea of like, you can't truly experience happiness until you've experienced sadness.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You have to go through the crap in order that when you finally have something of value in your life, you cherish it and you see it as valuable.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're just a pretty girl who wakes up in this world, right? You don't need to work hard. You don't need to do anything. You just get up and your DMs are filled with, guys who are going to just throw all their hard work at you.
Mostly from like India. Good morning, Buttercup. I freaking love that meme.
Yeah, so many guys from India DM your sister. It's crazy.
Dude. Watch your dude. Shout out Slum Dogs, bro.
Slum Dogs. I think it's really, really important to something that I keep hearing over and over and over again, that everybody needs to apply pretty much to their everyday life. And it's the idea that when you feel lost, because it happens to us every single day, you feel lost. You literally don't know what the next step is. Mm-hmm. Most of us, we have a general idea. Most of our lives we're taken by the hand and we're taken through a schedule of our everyday life, right? And then eventually after we all graduate and whatever, you might get a job, this and that. You end up in a situation where you sit there and for once, you have to think for yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. But oftentimes in that journey, you're going to be lost. Yeah. You're going to be lost. You're going to have all of these moments where you literally are standing in front of a staircase, but you don't know how to take the next step. You literally don't know how. Do yourself a favor. Whenever you feel lost, educate yourself. Read, sign up for a class, whatever the case is, follow a program, speak to a mentor. Once you start educating yourself from brand new, it takes your brain immediately back to that structure that we grew up with. That structure of the teacher teaches something, we absorb it, and we either apply it, or, here's the cool part, when you're lost and you begin educating yourself, you could be reading or learning about something that doesn't even apply, it's not even a direct solution to what your problem is. But just because they're speaking about something that's remotely similar, suddenly you'll take those ideas and your natural creative element will start implementing how it applies to you. Like I was just listening to a program right now, and he's talking about lead generation, this and that. He's talking about like how do you approach it, blah blah blah, and none of it applied to me. Absolutely none of it. But just because of the ideas that he was sharing, I was taking them and I was just like telling myself, this is how it would make sense for my purpose. This is how it would make sense for my business. This is how I could structure marketing around these concepts he's talking about. Educating yourself is always going to be the number one thing. Every time you feel lost, go learn something.
Yeah.
Go talk to someone. Expand your mind.
So that kind of brings it up to like, so we talked about mostly, we wanted to bring up two things, right? My text to you,
Yeah.
the definition of success,
Right.
and then also how to fail. So now that we talked about, you know, how to properly fail, let me read off my text that I sent over to you.
I'll do it.
Just transition into that.
Absolutely.
So
I love transitioning.
So shout out transitioning. So at night, randomly, I hit up BB and I sent him this text. And to kind of give you guys a little bit of context and why I randomly sent you this text. So I was out with a couple friends, and we were talking about everyone's definition of success. And one of my friends was like, I have a guy that he knows, a guy that's 35 years old that works at a hookah lounge, right? That's probably making about like $15 an hour, right? And he is happy. And my friend was telling me, like, there's so many times that other people at the hookah lounge were offering him jobs for like way more, for like double or so on. But the guy just kept on turning it down. Like, no, I'm happy. I'm really just, I'm able to live life. I'm able to do this. The guy's single. The guy doesn't have any kids.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's working for him.
Yeah.
But the guy was like, that blew my mind, because like he is able to be fully content and happy with life, right? Which I know to like many of us, we're like, oh, this guy's a loser. This guy just wants to settle for less in life. But is he? Right? So that's what thought, because I'm automatically started thinking that too, right? But I automatically backtracked. I was like, wait, hold up. Is he though? Is he a loser? If he's fully happy, if he's like, alhamdulillah, thank God, I'm chilling with everything that I have, anything more that I get is extra credits, the cherry on top. I am absolutely fulfilled with my life right now. I'm living life. Is he really the loser there compared to the other person that's constantly struggling, that's constantly hustling, that's constantly trying to chase a dollar, that's constantly trying to like elevate in life? But even when they are succeeding, they're constantly feeling like they're not good enough.
I think
that is a void.
More importantly than searching to achieve happiness, I think what is more special is a person striving to achieve contentness in their life.
Yes.
Just figuring out ways to be content with life.
Content has gotten very negative, right? Content is almost in that growth mindset of you reach to a certain point and you just plateaued.
Right.
Content has almost gotten to that level where the second you hear that, you're like, this guy's a loser. This guy just gave up.
Right.
He just stopped trying. But I feel like being content is at that level of satisfaction. And if whatever you achieve more is just pure gratefulness and like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Right. It's just extra.
You get what I'm trying to say? It's like whenever we travel, it's like you always say this. If we leave right now, I'm completely happy.
Yeah.
That's the same concept with it. So after having that conversation, I was like, I got it. It was just fresh in my mind. I was just so like excited. I was like,
yeah.
So here's what I said. Definition of success. Everyone has their own definition of what it means to be successful, but everyone also has their unique path they've gone through to adapt that mindset, whether it be through family, life, experiences, etc. Main message would be how to get to a point of finding and being content with your definition of success. What is your definition of success? Is it the money? Is it your sister? Is it like, is it cars? What is it? Like,
That almost went right over my head. I was like, yeah, okay, the word is sisters. Sister.
wait, what? Everyone has their own definition. Some people want to be filthy rich. Some people want to be known. Some people want to have that car. Some people want to be traveling the world. Some people just want their bills paid, a plate of food, and then like they're completely happy, right? So like, everyone has their own definition of success, and just because my definition is different than yours doesn't necessarily mean that I should shun you,
right?
Because your definition is a little bit more extreme or less than mine. So I think that kind of goes back to the whole human psychology, the whole human competition that we have, right? I'm always trying to outdo someone. I'm always trying to do better than the person, just so mentally I can be better than you. What's the end goal of that? I love competition. I love to talk crap. I love to try to get into people's heads and, like say if I'm playing basketball or something like that in order for me to win. That's fun and all, right? But the second we we finish and we shake hands, good game. I respect it, I'm not trying to like lead a life where your demise is going to be my happiness.
Right.
Because that's going to create a whole bunch of enemies and resentment around you that you do not want, man. What a life. You're not going to have any fulfilled conversations or like meaningful relationships with people if you're just constantly trying to bring them down. No one wants to be around that, man. So, definition of success, everyone has it. You have to figure it out yourself. Go through a whole bunch of just trials and tribulations and just failures and successes, the roller coasters of life. Eventually, you're like, you know what? This matters to me a lot. That doesn't really matter to me a lot. I really want a nice car. I can't explain why I really want a nice car, but I want a nice car. Do I want to own a house? For example, right? This is all hypothetical. Do I want to own a house? Not really. I'm pretty cool with just renting. That's completely fine. Or if it's vice versa, let me get a beater. I don't care what car I have. As long as I have a nice car and I can have a garage to park my car in. That's what I want. Right? There's nothing wrong with that, man. Or let me just make enough money for me to travel the world. That's all I want to make. I don't care if I'm working at McDonald's. I don't care if I'm working at selling medical devices, or I'm a doctor or engineer or lawyer or whatever it is. As long as I have enough money for me to, at the end of the year, travel a couple times, I'm happy. So everyone has their definition, but it's up to the person just to fully dig into themselves and find out, this makes me happy. This is worth working for. And if you're able to then find that goal, then you'll be able to work towards something, as we were talking about earlier. You have that vision. You have that goal towards something, towards that, that pursuit of happiness almost, right? Find your pursuit of happiness. Find that goal. Find that thing that you want to get married. You want to live, you want to have children, for example. Everyone's different. You want to have that house or whatever it is. You want to travel with your wife and your spouse, and you get that goal. Have that, make it happen. And yeah, man,
I don't like to overwhelm myself with the normal accolades of what people consider to be like success, right? The normal accolades being, 6, 7, 8 figure, business, income, job, whatever. Ownership of property, whether that be, homes, cars, whatever. Whatever your sister. My bad.
I thought it was like, let me just laugh.
Oh, how dare I forget your sister? That was a good one. I don't overwhelm myself with these, the typical life accolades that people strive to achieve. Even status, right? Even the idea of being someone of influence, being someone of fame. I don't ever try to overwhelm myself with that, because at the end of the day, Islam is the truth, and the only success is that when your soul leaves your body, it goes to a better place. That is the only success. My definition of success is leaving this world and finding out God was pleased with me.
Yeah.
That's the only success I ever care about, right? But if we were to detach myself from that for just a moment, because at the end of the day, I am a human being. At the end of the day, there are accolades I would like to achieve. I've always tried to make it part of like my like dua routine, that like I ask Allah to just make me content. And I've never looked at, as much as I'd like to say, like, you know, I have ambitions for like, you know, to be a millionaire, billionaire, whatever. Sure. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Show me the way. I'm going to take it. You know what I mean? No part of me is going to be like, you know what? I've made enough money. I'm going to keep hustling. One of the other dua that I always make, and they're one of the intentions behind my fitness as well, is I want to, on the last day of my life, right? Basically like in my eldest of age, right? On the last day of my life, whether that be in the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, however many years Allah gives me, I want to be able to do my own prayers on my own 2 feet. I want to be able to still work. I want to be able to exercise, and I want to still be physically capable for the battlefield, right? With all that being said, right? That's just the idea. I don't want to ever stop working. I don't want to ever just kick back, relax, and just tell myself I'm done, right? But at the same time, for me, the only thing I truly care about is that level of content where, one, my family's fed. The home is paid for. Everybody has this sense of pleasure that's around me, right? And in the case of accidental situations that we don't plan for, you get a ticket, you get into an accident, whatever the case is, right? Whatever emergencies happen, because that are completely out of our control, I want to be able to cover that without it causing anybody any level of stress. It's like, oh my God, somebody just crashed my $100,000 car. Cool, man. No worries. It's taken care of. You know what I mean? I want to be able to have that level of stoicism in order that no matter what life hits me with, I still remain grounded and I'm still content with how my life is going. So that's what I would say is like my worldly definition of success. Other than that, respect. I don't care if I have nothing to my name. There's no reason for me. There's like I have had just like I have no status, no fame, nothing. As long as I have earned my respect and I get it, that's success for me.
Solid. Yes, man.
You know what's one thing I do want to bring up though?
Talk to me.
Where does somebody draw the line between accepting they would rather be content with how life is going without asking for too much versus somebody who's trying to deflect responsibilities?
Well, I respect one person and I don't respect the other.
Uh-huh.
Don't deflect. Don't be a dumbass.
No, but it's like they still do the bare minimum in order to be content, find that level of content in their life.
Okay.
Right? But it's like they may have other responsibilities. And then they just decide, I'm going to deflect those responsibilities because I'm just not interested in putting in that effort.
Yeah, I'm not going to work today or I'm not going to work this month because I just don't feel like it.
Nice.
I'm not going to feed my children, my wife. I'm not going to pay the bills because I still.
No, like I said, they do the bare minimum. They get done what needs to get done.
I mean, look, when you said like at the beginning, I didn't know like you were talking about like a family man or like that kind of situation.
Right.
So, like, just, or you're
No, like take for example, like, you know, the guy who works at the hookah lounge that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Right? He's content. He doesn't need to do much. Right? But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, he's still a man. At some point, he needs to get married. Right?
If he wants.
I mean, yeah, if he wants, sure.
Which, you know, we're men, so we're like, we want to get married.
I mean, you know, it's part of the sunnah, you know?
Yeah.
Don't let your bloodline just die off.
Yeah.
You know?
I wonder how that is when it comes down to, that's a tangent. We'll talk after.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's.
Okay. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up that last point, really. Just wanted to ask about it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's, I feel like more often than not, jeez, bro. I feel like more often than not, people really are okay with the bare minimum. And even if that brings you some sense of content in your life, I feel like in that process, you might still be avoiding some responsibilities that you're supposed to take care of. People might be dependent on you, but you've chosen to ignore your responsibility in that situation and kind of just, you know, sit back and relax and just be like, oh, I'm gonna focus on me. You know?
That's a tough situation, man.
Yeah.
Because, like, enter in that example of, like, family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Your average person,
Mm.
right, is so focused on giving them all, and only really focusing, you know, about the family, that they lose themselves.
Right.
They lose that love and care that they need for themselves. That medic time.
Yes.
That sometimes a person might reach like a tipping or like a breaking point. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I like screw all responsibilities. I'm gonna have a heart attack if I continue down this life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna die if I continue doing this.
Yeah.
You know, I know this sounds very extreme or very dramatic,
Yeah.
right? Even saying that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's real, man. Don't lose yourself trying to, like, okay, still you have your responsibilities, right? I was gonna say don't lose yourself trying to please other people, but, like, let's be honest, this is your freaking family.
Right.
This is your wife,
Mm-hmm.
and she's doing her part. You know, like the kids, like this is everything that you signed up for.
Yeah.
Like, you get what I'm trying to say? But, like, at the end of all that, though, there needs to be an understanding that, hey, look, every so often, I need my time.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. We've talked about this before, but that's fair. That's necessary. It's important.
Communicate is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
Communicate that, as opposed to be like, just, yo, you're supposed to do that. Why don't you do it?
Uh-huh.
Now I'm taking care of myself. I just didn't feel like doing it.
You know, many times it's just as a man, many times there's a lot of responsibilities that get thrown at you that you don't necessarily sign up for. Right? There's a lot of responsibility that get thrown at you. You don't sign up for it. And it requires you to go out of your comfort zone through a little bit of pain in order that you can just simply return to that level of content.
Yeah,
Right?
that's tough.
So that's what I mean by, like, deflecting responsibilities, and because you could basically just say, like, okay, this has come up, I need to take care of it because that's just my duty.
Yeah.
Or you could say, you know what, this came up, not my problem. I already did my part today. I don't want to suffer.
I see both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I really see both sides, because that kind of takes me back to corporate.
Mm-hmm.
I would be that guy for the most part to be like, I know it's not my job responsibility or my duty, but I'm still going to do it.
Right.
But then there are also many other people that are just like, nah, I'm not doing this.
Right.
It wasn't in the job description.
Mm-hmm.
But with age, it's like, I get that. I
Yeah.
get both sides, but sometimes I'm like that. Sometimes I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it just depends on, one, my mood.
Yeah.
And then second, too, it's like, who it's for. If it's going to be for my mother, it's gonna be for my parents or my family, if it's gonna be for like, my future wife and kids and so on, okay, and that's high priority.
Yeah.
If it's gonna be for a random Joe Schmo, then I'm probably not gonna feel as motivated for me to try to do something. Doesn't make me a horrible person, but it might make me a little selfish. I don't give a fudge. I'm already so selfless throughout my life. The second I want to do something for myself, then I'm considered selfish. Go after yourself.
And with that being said, make sure to tune in to next episode where your sister checks out.
Say it, bro. Say it. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Say it with a freaking...
Honestly, I didn't even have anything to say. I just want to throw in your sister somehow. You know what I mean? No, but with that being said, tune in for the next episode. Next episode is gonna be dope. We're gonna be talking about assertiveness, the importance of assertiveness, how to be assertive as a man, and the importance of being assertive as a man. You have no idea how excited I am to bring this conversation to you because, like, my mind wrapped around this whole idea, and it's gonna be a fantastic talk. I'm super excited.
Freaking go.
But with that being said, that has been another episode of the King of Average podcast. If you were able to benefit from anything of what we said, don't be shy to hit us with a like, comment on the video, send a subscribe, and check us out on all our socials. Let us know what you want us to talk about, and let us know how your sister is doing. Peace.